Get ready for the action, because Governor Ivey just dropped huge news about infrastructure across Alabama. Governor Ivey announced over $7.6 million in state funding dedicated to 26 critical road projects throughout the state through the Rebuild Alabama Annual Grant Program. This is the first round of funding this year under the Alabama Department of Transportation's annual grant program, and we are diving deep into exactly how these grants are set to transform local communities mile after mile.
Stop using your finger for notes, sketches, and edits. This Jam Jake stylus pen gives your iPad a smoother, more precise writing feel with palm rejection so your hand can rest naturally on the screen. It charges fast, works for hours, and comes with replacement tips. Perfect for school, work, or creative projects. Check the link in the comments to grab it on Amazon.
Next up, we look at the incredible achievements in Alabama softball and the SEC spotlight. Alabama softball ace Jocelyn Briski has been named the 2026 SEC Pitcher of the Year, and that is not all. Head coach Patrick Murphy was also named the 2026 SEC Coach of the Year. We break down the impressive statistics behind Briski's dominant season and the historic coaching accolades Murphy has earned. Now, let's talk about the massive economic impact of Alabama tourism. In 2025, Alabama tourists spent a record-breaking $24.9 billion, marking a $1 billion increase over the previous year. We explore how this massive influx of visitors, around 29.2 million people, supported hundreds of thousands of jobs and fueled the state's economy, revealing where the money is going. And finally, we wrap up with the latest on Alabama sports drama and what's next. We are reacting to the news that Alabama football is canceling its series against Oklahoma State and discussing the factors behind that major decision. Don't miss this full breakdown, and make sure you like and subscribe right now to stay ahead of all the biggest Alabama news. Governor Ivey has announced a significant injection of state funding aimed at improving local infrastructure across Alabama. Through the Rebuild Alabama Annual Grant Program, the governor confirmed the distribution of over $7.6 million in state funding, designated for 26 road projects throughout the state. This represents the initial round of funding distributed this year under the Alabama Department of Transportation's annual grant program, which was established by the Rebuild Alabama Act signed into law in 2019. Governor Ivey emphasized the statewide impact, stating, "If you are driving from one place to the next in our state, it is hard not to spot a blue Rebuild Alabama sign along the way. That is because we have road and bridge projects happening in all 67 counties." She added that these grants are crucial for providing local communities with the necessary support to undertake critical projects, promising continued results across the state. State officials provided further details on the program's scope. The 2026 annual grant program is slated to distribute a total of $15 million in funding this year, surpassing the minimum requirement set by the Rebuild Alabama Act by $5 million. Officials also indicated that additional grants are anticipated later in the year. Local governments involved in these initiatives have demonstrated strong commitment by contributing more than $1.9 million in matching funds toward the awarded projects. Program guidelines mandate that all projects receiving grants must commence within 1 year of the award. Since the enactment of the Rebuild Alabama Act, the program has successfully allocated over $78 million in transportation funding for local infrastructure projects statewide. A comprehensive list of the awarded projects was released concurrently with the governor's announcement. Alabama softball has secured significant accolades, with ace pitcher Jocelyn Briski and head coach Patrick Murphy both earning prestigious 2026 SEC awards. Announced by the conference on Friday, Briski was named the 2026 SEC Pitcher of the Year. Complementing this recognition, head coach Patrick Murphy was also honored as the 2026 SEC Coach of the Year. Beyond the top honors, several Alabama players earned All-SEC recognition. Jocelyn Briski and Brooke Wells were selected for first-team honors, while Marley Giles and Alexis Pupillo received second-team All-SEC honors. Briski's performance has been outstanding. Across 29 appearances this season, including 22 starts, she holds a 21-2 record with a team-best 1.38 ERA and a strong 174, 19 strikeouts to walks ratio across 136.2 innings pitched. Her pitching contributions include 13 complete games, 4 shutouts, and 3 saves so far. This marks the 6th different Alabama player to receive SEC Pitcher of the Year honors, and the 8th time the award has been won by the Crimson Tide overall, following previous winners like Stephanie Van Brackle, Kelsey Dunn, Jackie Traina, and Sarah Cornell. Meanwhile, Coach Murphy's recognition is historic. His SEC Coach of the Year honor is the 6th in his Alabama career and his first since 2019. Murphy now holds the distinction of having received this honor in the SEC more times than any other coach, with wins in 2006, 2010, 2012, 2014, 2019, and now 2026. Alabama's tourism sector reached unprecedented heights in 2025, with tourists spending a record $24.9 billion in the state. This figure marks a significant $1 billion increase over the previous year. The surge in visitor numbers was substantial, with approximately 29.2 million tourists vacationing at Alabama's beaches, state parks, and campgrounds, setting a new record for the 5th consecutive year, according to Alabama Governor Ivey. This sustained growth reflects a consistent trend, as spending in Sweet Home Alabama has increased by nearly $1 billion annually over the last 5 years. The tourism industry played a crucial role in the state's economy, supporting 255,780 jobs in the past year. Economic analysis indicates that for every $140,735 spent in the travel industry, 1 new direct job is created, with economists further estimating that this generates an additional indirect job for every 2 direct jobs. The hospitality industry was a major driver, generating $4.6 billion in direct earnings, with total impact earnings surpassing $8.2 billion. The food industry was particularly significant, accounting for 53% of the positions created, followed by hotels and overnight accommodations at 22%, entertainment at 14%, and general retail contributing 6% of the jobs. Geographically, Baldwin, Jefferson, Madison, Mobile, and Montgomery counties attracted the largest share of travelers, with 72.4% of visitors originating from these areas. Alabama Tourism Director Lee Sentel highlighted the remarkable recovery, noting that tourist spending has climbed for 14 of the past 15 years, with the exception of 2020 during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. Sentel contrasted the current success with the past, stating that more than a decade ago, tourists spent $11 billion in a single year, which was less than half of the 2025 total. Furthermore, the travel industry delivers tangible benefits to the state's overall economy. State law mandates that 3/4 of the 4% state lodging tax flows directly into the general fund, providing resources for state services. In 2024 alone, tourist spending generated approximately $88 million, benefiting all Alabama residents. Officials emphasize that the travel industry provides direct economic advantages to the state. In a recent edition of The Joe Gaither Show on Bama Central, the program addressed several significant developments across the college football landscape, starting with the news that Alabama football has canceled its scheduled series against Oklahoma State. Hosts Theo Fernandez and Joe Gaither delved into the reasons behind this decision, questioning whether factors such as prioritizing quality on college campuses might influence future scheduling decisions, and if subsequent games could also be canceled. The discussion then shifted to the Southeastern Conference's SEC landscape, focusing on Georgia and Florida State. The conversation highlighted changes in their upcoming football agreements, particularly regarding name, image, and likeness, NIL funds, suggesting an increased focus on these financial aspects. This prompted speculation about whether Alabama might adopt similar strategies, such as scheduling non-conference games in neutral sites to boost NIL revenue. The show concluded by reviewing other athletic programs. Coverage included the Alabama softball team reaching the SEC tournament semifinals, with analysis centered on Oklahoma's performance and the elevated expectations placed on Alabama to secure a victory in the event. Furthermore, the baseball program was examined, noting Alabama's upcoming travel to South Carolina during the final week of the year and the necessary win total required to qualify for the NCAA regional. The broadcast also included acknowledgments of the show's sponsors, Derek Daniel State Farm and Purple Turtle Roofing, and provided listeners with avenues to engage further, including voicemail options, live commentary on social media platforms, and access to the show on various streaming and podcast services.